Hey, Carolina fans, welcome back to Alumni Game. We got the whole squad this week. I'm your host, Michael Ritchie, class of '06. We got Sam Niedermeyer, also class of '06. We got John Buster Clarkson, class of '02. Hot back in from Arkansas from a trip out there. We are getting into LSU this week. If you missed our Kentucky recap, check that out. I know bye weeks are off times, so you get a little foggy. Check that out. You can see some of our other videos there. Before we get into LSU, though, we got a little bit of news this week, player news, especially about a player that we've talked about on this show.
Hot news.
We'll get into that in
Breaking
just a,
news.
yeah, just get into that in just a second. Let's just say hello to the guys because we've been missing Buster. Buster, how you doing, man? How was that trip?
I'm doing great. Had a great week last week. Great trip. Just part of the work experience.
Nice.
Got my stuff done properly. If you guys were wondering, I was in jury duty this past week. Finally got
Ooh,
let go today.
boo.
That was
Ooh.
a heck of an experience, but it's very important as a citizen of the United States that you serve your community, and when you are selected for jury duty, you do it to the best of your abilities. It's what I did. And little quick callback because since I did miss last week to that Kentucky game, my bold prediction was over 100 yards rushing
That's
total.
Yep.
right.
We did mention
We
that.
we did, and so I wanted to say that because we surpassed that tremendously, and because I underestimated our ability to rush the football, especially in those waning minutes, and especially in that kind of final drive when we needed to showcase our ability to run the ball, to run out the clock, and we did so and got the yardage to get the first downs to run out the clock. I owe the Gamecock football team a little bit of
Oh, he's doing
1,800
one.
tequila.
Oh, nice.
So cheers.
1,800. I'm about
So
to
you can
throw
get
up
one.
watching you just take that shot
There
there.
it is. We got the Gamecock logo. Shout out to the running backs and to Lenoris for making sure that I don't forget that we can run the ball when we are able to execute. So cheers to those guys.
Yeah. Well, little clap here for
Yeah.
Buster. That's
Buster, you're
very
such
nice.
a patriot.
Keeping
You're
it
such a
real.
patriot doing your civic duty. That's
I mean,
amazing.
So
yeah, you just got to
unbiased
do
and
what you got to do. But
reasonable. It's
like,
great.
listen,
It's great.
I'm very unbiased
as
and reasonable.
unbiased and as logical
Objective.
and reasonable I am, I'm also a representative of my state, of my county, my city, and my university, and I will do all for them at all times.
Very nice.
Jury
Very
duty
nice.
and taking shots when I am underestimating our ability.
Doing YouTube shows for the
A
people.
true
Yes,
Exactly.
Renaissance man.
exactly. So, all right, cool. Sam, how you doing, buddy? I don't want to leave you out. It's only been a week,
Wonderful. No jury duty for me.
right? Whew.
Teaching teaching the kids, just doing my thing, man. I don't want to rain on Buster's parade, but we did mention last week the things that you and I hit, Mike, and I did call 6 sacks against Kentucky. So I'm ready
Yeah,
to
that
see
was
what I can
cool.
call against LSU,
That was
baby.
cool. Yes. Kudos to you, man. For another slow clap for you.
Thank you.
Cool. So we got all that out of the way. So
I'll drink to that too.
yeah. So
There
the
you go.
little
Yeah,
bit
do that.
of breaking news, the little bit of sort of program and like staffing update for the squad. Michael Smith, tight end that we've talked about on the show. Feel free to watch some of our episodes. We got a Gamecock of the Week episode about him and what
He
we
is a
thought about
beast.
him. He
Mhm.
has decided he is no longer with the program. He has decided to take his redshirt year and hit the portal, which, as far as Buster explained to me, it basically means he can continue with his career and have all his years of eligibility at another school, but not playing this year. So he will, work on his academics and obviously with his team to figure out, where he's going to go and offers and recruiting for that. We wish him the best. And actually kind of feels like, my opinion, and you guys know this, is kind of like good for all sides, which kind of sounds good because he was reportedly like very unhappy with the way things had gone. And we've talked about that. Guys like Jordan Dingle and our tight end room is pretty robust. So it's not a shocker that has necessarily happened. But this was a guy, just to refresh your memories here. This year, so far, only 2 passes for 20 yards. But last year, as a true freshman, 10 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown in 12 games. So it kind of, some Gamecock fans may not love this because he was sort of starting budding last year, but things have trended in a different direction. I'm talking a lot about this, so I want to hear you guys first. I have some opinions about it, but Buster, especially where we didn't have you last week, and you kind of brought this news to us first.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Michael Smith and what's happened here and how coach is dealing with it?
I'm going to miss Michael Smith in the sense of I liked the potential. So what we talked about in our episode, which again,
Check it
look at
out.
the
Yep.
link. Yep.
Like,
He
subscribe.
was a four-star kid out of Savannah, and one of the things that got him recruited to South Carolina was his athleticism. His size and his speed and his strength, and it flashed last year. Definitely, we saw that last year. In that episode, we talked about based on what we saw last year, and with Josh Hyman leaving for the NFL,
Hmm.
this guy was going to, Josh Hyman was passing the torch to this guy. This guy was going to step up. And a lot of us, and that includes us here at the alumni game, but as well as most of Gamecock Nation, thought that Michael Smith's athleticism was going to surpass Josh Simon's production from last year. And we were like, we're going to take that next step with him.
Yeah.
And I truly think we would have, but kind of like what we were talking about in our prep and pregame show was that he was injured in the spring. So he
Yeah.
got a step behind. And the thing is a lot of people don't realize this. When you're playing this high level football in the SEC with the kind of talent that you have on an SEC roster here at the University of South Carolina, it's not just about getting behind, but everybody else in that room is getting ahead.
Yeah.
So you like, and Gamecock Nation, you would definitely agree with this in the sense of when you watch the first couple of games, Brady Hunt looks a step faster and looks a bit more athletic on the field. Jordan Dingle, the transfer from Kentucky, he's been doing great things. And to me, my favorite player, Mo Brown, who was a walk-on H-back type of guy, has shown up, especially if you remember that very first opening series drive against Virginia Tech. He caught that first pass out of the backfield.
Yeah.
He looks so smooth catching and running with the ball that to me, it wasn't about Michael Smith being less or production being down, but everybody else, rising with the tide.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where he's good enough to play. He's good enough to start. He's good enough to start potentially for an SEC school. But with the talent that we have in that room and the crowd that we have in the room, we have three capable tight ends now. That it was just one of those where he was going to be down on the pecking order. So it's not a bad thing. And I saw some on the Gamecock message boards. There was a lot of complaints that the offense and Mike Shula and all the things that we're mad about in the first couple of games of the season.
Yeah, guys, got to stop bringing it back to Shula. It's
Yeah.
not
And
about
then
him.
again,
Yeah.
It's
whatever
exhausting
the
to
case
read.
may be, is it's childish and amateur to say that the poor output of the offense caused him to transfer. No, what caused him to transfer was he got a little bit behind when others got ahead,
Yeah.
and we have enough talent in that room to be able to accompany him leaving, but this still gives him a chance
Yeah.
to be successful. Because again,
Yeah, for me, it's timing. It's
Yeah.
timing. It's the timing of that injury that keeps him completely out of practice. And it's really funny. We do that. We did that episode, Gamecock of the Week, on Michael Smith. And actually, in the comments, a couple of you guys, were talking about that, and we love that. We were like, yes, you guys are totally right. Like, he just got injured, like right as we did that. And in some way, you might think, oh, it negates that episode. It really doesn't, because we were high on him and we would talk about him anyways. But that injury felt like, yes, sets him back. Everyone else keeps moving ahead. That's timing number one. Timing number two is where he's at right now, and where he has only popped in a game or two, that he can still keep that red shirt, and basically, so he's going to go somewhere. He's going to be a redshirt freshman somewhere else, which he can get, almost 5 years of whatever somewhere else. The timing of all that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That he to keep going with this squad that he's on would mean that he loses that redshirt year and he loses that year of eligibility, and now he'll keep all of it in play and basically be able to somewhat start fresh somewhere, healthy, and kind of circle up the wagons while he's doing what he's doing. So I think all of that makes a lot of sense to me. The timing.
the timing's kind of interesting too, because like this is these next 5 weeks are a gauntlet, right? Like we're
Yeah.
playing like five top 11 teams. In the history of the last 20 years, I don't think anyone's had a schedule quite like ours here over the next 5 weeks. So we'll talk about that in a
That
minute,
almost
but
feels like a proclamation. I love it.
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, like, yeah, he selected it to get his red shirt. I have another question too. We didn't really talk about this pre-show, so forgive me for laying this one on you guys.
No, no,
So
please.
he signed an NIL, and number one, obviously you have like the transfer portal, which factors into this, like, and how the new transfer portal rules. Like, obviously, we're going to see a lot of these where guys are going to transfer because they're not getting playing time, right? We already see it in other programs. It's
Yeah,
happening now to us.
yeah.
I guess my question is, he just signed an NIL deal with Garnet Trust in December, right before the bowl game. Does he like? Do they get that money back now? Like,
I
how does
think
that
they
work?
probably do.
The weird thing is there have been stories where universities or let's say football programs have tried to recoup some NIL money depending on the situation with the student athlete. I don't know how that works. I don't know where that falls in line with things that are based in law and litigation to promises that
Contractual law. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and again, there's weird things. So like obviously the NCAA clearinghouse has kind of gone by the wayside with how they're doing the NIL now. Like it is so convoluted with how money is handled at this point with no clear distinction
Yeah.
because the NCAA doesn't want to make a decision on anything because they were mad that this whole NIL thing got started in the first place.
Yeah.
And because it's almost like, you know, like it's like states' rights, but in university form where there's no central ruling. There's no central
Yeah,
laws.
it's not like the
There's no
guys
central
are in a
body.
union or
Yeah,
something.
so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
hard
yeah.
to determine whether or not he gets to keep his NIL if it gets
I gotta
returned.
think it's gotta be off of services rendered or something. Like
Yeah,
if he
but
didn't really get any
Who knows,
deals
man?
and he didn't really pump anything and he didn't really play, then it's kind of
but
moot.
here's
It's just like
my
void,
the thing
you know?
that like and
I
again
think you're
this is
right. I would imagine that's right, Mike.
yeah
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I always look at it like this though like and then this is a very small percentage and a kind of a not necessarily wishful thinking but something to keep in the mind in the back of your mind. He's going because he wants a chance. It was said that he was unhappy with his current playing time, and he's going to go somewhere else where he has the ability to shine and be the starter, the star at tight end, et cetera, et cetera. And that can happen, yeah. But uh, history suggests, and it's happened a couple times for South Carolina. Gilbert Edmonds left the University of South Carolina football program to go to FSU because he wanted an NIL package, thought he was a star, he was going to do this and that. Gets to FSU, grass wasn't greener. He comes back to Carolina.
Yeah.
Same thing with our basketball program. Michi Johnson played for us for a couple years after transferring from Ohio State. Decided to finish out his career at Ohio State.
Yep.
Things didn't work out. The grass wasn't greener. And guess who's back at South
Yeah.
We're
Carolina?
going to see him next year. We're going to see him
Yeah,
next
yeah,
year.
and it's totally
So
possible. And
the
I'm
thing
with
is,
you, Buster. That's another reason to let him go. You know, if you love it, set it free, right? Like, I mean,
exactly.
you're dating a girl and she's great, but it's not working out, and then you go somewhere else and it's like terrible. Oh my God, dating is the worst thing ever. You're coming right back, and you're just
Look,
hoping you didn't mess it up. You
And
know?
that's what
look
I
at
like
Mike
about
giving the
what,
marriage and dating
I
yeah.
mean, come on.
advice. I
Look,
think you're
dating is
right,
terrible
brother. I love
nowadays.
it.
I have friends in New York City,
No,
and
you're
Sam, you
right.
were
You're
one of them.
right. Let
But
him
those,
go.
and I
Let him
know.
go.
What I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna bring in what do they call it? What is this, Sam? When it's like a mutual contract between the two that you can be with other people. You know, that's not
Yeah.
what we're talking about
Yeah,
here.
Not talking about that.
Economical relationship or whatever it is, but non-monogamous. But
Hey,
no, look, I think where
you've been
he's
there for
at
me
though.
during my breakups in New York, brother. I know exactly
Yeah,
what you're
I
meaning. You're
try. You know, I
100%
try.
right.
I get it. I mean, I'm very lucky. I've been with my wife over 10 years. It is actually her birthday today, so I will shout out to my wife
shout
Kelsey.
out.
She's
Happy birthday,
more
Mrs.
beautiful than
Mike.
ever,
HBDs.
We
and
know your
she's
real
having a
name.
great day. But you know, I just feel like he's a young guy. You know, he's a redshirt freshman. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. He hasn't played a ton. He isn't getting the playing time. I mean, I do think it. You know, if you really looked at it, this is a really good quarterback here and a really good coach. So maybe you just work harder to get in there. But like I said, he's got time. He can do his thing. If he ended up back here and coach wanted to do that, then we'll
Who
see
knows?
that happen, and that
Well,
will
and
just be part of this saga. You know.
yeah, I mean
Um,
Shane did it with Gilbert, and I think the one thing that we can appreciate with this program and Coach Beamer is he did have open communication and discussion with Michael Smith about the situation and said, hey, I don't want you to leave. I think you're a valuable asset to this team.
Yeah.
But you got to do what's best for you. And I think that what that does for Shane and this program and for Michael Smith said, hey, go and find your chance to star and shine. But if things don't work out and you need to find your home, we're here for you because I've always supported you as your coach. And I think that's the kind of message that Shane has sent to the players that have transferred and the players that are staying. Like, hey, I want you to shine. I want you to be the best football player and person you can be. And if that's here, that's great. Yeah. If you need to go somewhere else, that's great too.
And
but
you're
if
a young man. It's your decision.
Out,
it's your
come back here. Yeah. So
if you have a home here, if you want to make another home, and that's fine. And if you want to come back, come back. All right, I think that's pretty good. I think, we will bid Michael Smith adieu. He will always be a Gamecock of the Week. Check out that episode. Let us know what you think of that. If you disagree, please let us know. We will revisit this, obviously. We will keep tabs on Mr. Smith, especially if he goes to Washington or somewhere. And we'll check that out. But to get to the point here, we got a big game coming, and with Michael Smith out of here and that done, and this LSU matchup looming over our heads, let's talk about these Gamecocks and what they might be able to do this weekend versus a very formidable opponent. So right off, some of the statistical informations here. LSU is number 11 in the country right now. They are doing very well in the SEC, but they are coming off a loss. They are also coming off an open date, just like we are. So that is sort of neutral. We had a week off. They had a week off. We had a win going into the week off. They did not. So that's a little bit of a difference. We will be at their stadium, Tiger Stadium in Death Valley, the true Death Valley. It'll be on SEC Saturday night, closer to 8. LSU favored. It's kind of oscillating. I think we're kind of landing at 9. That as the line there. But that seems to be in motion a bit. And the over under 44.5. So not like a barn burner, but points. ESPN giving LSU 73% chance. We talked about the buys. And should be really great weather, so that shouldn't affect anything. None of these delays that we've had in some of the other games, right? Before we get into this, guys, any other X factors? Anything about the bye weeks or coming off Kentucky or LSU coming off a loss that kind of hits you?
Well, one, the most important aspect of this coming weekend, and obviously the next 5 weeks, this amazing gauntlet of formidable opponents. It's Cocktober, guys. The X factor is Cocktober, okay? That's when we come out and we show everybody what the real deal is. That's where Heisman comes out. That's where we show everybody that all that stuff you talk about how bad we were at the beginning of the season gets forgot about because it's Cocktober. Never mind
this year. October's 5
exactly.
weeks
Never
long.
mind the fact that our next 5 opponents are ranked inside the top 15. 4 out of the 5 opponents are ranked inside the top 10. We are in Cocktober.
Everything's right in front of us. Everything is right in front of us, man. You want to make the playoffs?
That's why you lift all them weights, right? I mean, put that aside. Get into it and get into the trenches, right? So that's what we're going to do too. Quick history lesson here, just because I found some things fascinating. A fun little site called Winsipedia. That's like Wikipedia, but it's for matchups like this. Our record is not great here, but LSU has 18 wins in the series and 2 losses. Carolina has won twice, and there was one tie, which I
didn't realize about the tie.
It's not a thing. The tie was, where the hell was that? That was I don't even know.
Probably 1939 or something.
Well, yeah, you got to go. So that's the other thing. First meeting, October 11th, 1930, which is kind of interesting. And in Columbia, and Columbia wins 7-6. Not the most exciting game.
Defensive struggle there.
And obviously they made a mixed and extra point or whatever happened in 1930. However, they were playing the game at that point.
Playing the wing tee offense.
Do you guys remember the 2003 game?
Oh God, I do.
It was
Yeah.
like 35-7 or 34-7. They had
Yep.
Joseph Adai was hurt and Justin Vincent came in and
33 to
ran or
7.
something like.
Yes.
Was that
Yeah.
it? Was that the score? 33-7.
That was
Matt Mock.
October 18th, 2003 in Columbia.
I think
Yes.
I
I
left the game
painted
at
my
half.
chest for that game. I
I
remember
left
that
the game
game.
at halftime at that game. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
done.
There's a
We're just
picture of me and some buddies. Yeah, I'd seen you guys that day, I think at a tailgate or
I
something.
do remember seeing
But
you that day, Mike. Yeah.
yeah, but we had painted our chests. We were very excited.
Yeah.
I lived pretty close by the stadium, actually by the old baseball stadium for that game.
Yep.
And there's a really dejected picture of us with our, like all the stuff on our chest was all messed up because we had gotten like wet and done whatever. But yeah, we had high hopes for that game. That did not happen. We only scored one score. That was not
That's
good.
the first thing I think
Um,
of when I think of LSU South Carolina history is that game. Like that is us against LSU in a nutshell. That game.
Honestly, I think about that, but I also think about Rashad Fenton's 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
Mhm.
Just obviously more recent history. That
Yeah.
was under Coach Muschamp, but it's still that was an exciting thing
yeah,
to see. Is because we when you see special team touchdowns, and obviously we saw a couple,
yeah,
three this year with
yeah,
Kari Swain. But prior to that, it goes Debo running back the opening kickoff with against North Carolina and Old Miss several years ago. But no, I think that Rashad Fenton 96 yarder was a lot of fun to watch, and to me, I've seen the Joe Burrows and the Coach O LSU guys, but I also remember last year where I will forever die on this hill. I will take this to the grave, whatever cliche, whatever saying you phrase you want to call it. We won the game last year against LSU. It was the refs, and it's not just the two bad pick sixes that were called back. It was the offensive pass interference down the field that would have led to the score, and we were already up 33 to
yeah,
29. Like
yeah. They were wearing
it
their
was
tiger
bad
stripes that
all
day.
around. Like so, I still think that it is 18 wins and not two losses. It's
17 wins in
LSU
the
has 17 wins and we have
Yeah.
three
Speaking of
wins.
those technicalities, so I do have it here. The tie was September 30th, 1995, and that was in Columbia. That was the
Okay.
tie.
Okay.
And then the only
Three
time we
losing
played
streak.
yeah, the only time we played in a game that was not a regular season game was the Gator Bowl, December 31st, 1987. We played the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida against LSU.
Mhm.
That's the only time it was
Okay.
not
That
a
wasn't a
regular season
Tannehill
game.
team, was it?
No. God, I was 8 years old in '87. We were still
Yeah,
in the
I was 4 years
ACC,
old.
or no, we were independent. God, too
We'll
many
come back to
concussions
it.
to
And then the
remember
last
that far
piece
back.
is that technically two wins were vacated in 2012 and
Yes.
2015. LSU vacated those wins, and so that doesn't like give us the win.
So
But that one game
they're
was close,
technically 20 wins and two losses.
right, exactly. So I mean, we
So
kind of make
19
out.
wins and three losses
Right,
because
right,
again,
right, right,
We
last year
kind
right,
did
of
not
make out,
right.
count
and
as a
one
loss.
was a bowl game, so it's not really counting necessarily in SEC statistics. And
No.
and obviously we've never necessarily gotten to the SEC championship. If we were to play them there, that would be a different neutral, kind of a neutral site thing,
I
and
feel
we,
like this is like arguing semantics with
You know,
somebody.
yeah, but
you
when you
know
go back
what?
to 1930, there's
But
semantics
that's what
there.
we
Did
do. That's what we do best.
didn't we win 18 straight or 17 straight versus Vanderbilt? And didn't
Yeah,
Vanderbilt win?
yeah,
Hey
Yeah, and they
man,
finally hit their wall against
you know
Alabama,
what?
right? So, but they
Now's
didn't
as
yeah,
play
good a
well too.
time as any, brother.
yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Yeah, we are the Vandy of this matchup. Yeah,
That's exactly right.
So now to jump into it, we'll start with the Tiger side because we obviously want to finish strong with our Gamecocks. But going into it, very seems like a very high-powered offense. Coach Kelly has had a vacant date to get them pumped up for this. They're fairly middle as far as the SEC goes. The stats I have them 12th in the SEC in total offense, 13th in scoring, and 15th in rushing.
Oh, that's not middle. That's at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
think we're closer to the bottom, but
it's
yeah, it
funny
isn't
looking
it
at
isn't the
those.
rushing part. But the rushing part, I'm going to jump to another note that I came up with that Sam was proud of me for. Their leading rusher, Caden Durham, missed the last game because of an ankle injury. So he has had
Yeah.
time to heal. He is back, so he could be a bit of an X factor. We know we got to stop the run to make a team one dimensional. That's what our defense can do. So we're looking forward to that. And then also they had some time to get healthy for their quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier, who was playing through what Kelly called a torso injury, so some kind of core injury. And he's had some
He
extra
had
time.
Sounds
no
So
like
zip
we
on the
have
bruised
had
ball.
some
It was
time
bruised
definitely
to.
rib.
it was probably a shoulder issue because he had no zip on the ball. They
Yeah.
just didn't want to call it out, and we don't even know if it's going to be fully healthy. If it's something like a shoulder, you know, I don't. I, that's not something that gets healed in a bye week, and that's
Yeah, you're
like,
right. I was me and my wife were at the Giants game when Neighbors went down, and though they won that game and that was an exciting game, he was in a lot of pain. I was reading later about his shoulder. He had a partially torn labrum, and I was like, wait, he was already playing through a partially torn labrum, and then he blew up his knee. Like, wow, he
yeah.
needs to heal, you know. So yeah, guys can be playing with that stuff, and you never know. Something's a little torn, something's a little off. Hopefully, we can exploit that. Um, but yeah, so getting into this, guys, LSU strengths. Where are we challenged? What do they do that we don't do well against? Where do we have to work harder here?
Um, so LSU strengths. Best way to put it is Carolina's playing their doppelganger. Carolina is piss poor on offense, especially in their running attack. LSU is the exact same way. LSU has an elite defense. We do too. If you want to look at how to play against LSU, play against yourself, South Carolina, because they have a
Play with
great
yourself?
rush. Play with yourself. Same thing. Yeah. No, they have
A lot of playing with
a great
yourself
D
there.
line. They have good pass rushers. Great linebackers. Whitbeek's one of them. Big story with him and Lane Kiffin's daughter from last 2 weeks ago with Ole Miss. That whole thing, whatever. They have a great
Whoa.
secondary. I think, and I'm blanking on his name, but one of their corners is potentially a first round draft pick, like an elite corner. So to me, the biggest thing about LSU being their strength and the challenges facing them is you're playing against yourself. You're playing against a quarterback that has not lived up to the preseason hype with the Heisman. You're playing against a limping running attack because, again, like you said, they're 15th in rushing. We're probably 16th in rushing. And
That's giving
so
us some credit.
yeah,
A little bit, yeah.
honestly, if you want to do that, then like if we're both equally good on defense and equally poor on offense, what is their X factor? Well, they're playing at Death Valley at night. That is an X factor against anybody in the nation. Like you play down in Baton Rouge, at Death Valley at night, you are in for some. You're in for a treat, especially with those fans. But you're in for a real test, and that to me, I think that's what Shane probably was focusing on in his bye week was how to play through crowd noise, how to play through those kind of distractions, how to play in that kind of hostile environment outside of the obvious trying to fix the problems we have on offense and get healed up. But that's their biggest strength, I think, right now is their home field advantage because everything else is equal. Defense
Yeah.
versus defense, offense versus offense, all that cancels each other out. It's playing at Death Valley at 7:45 p.m. Eastern
Yeah,
time.
no, you're totally
And
right. And I
you know
found
what?
some quotes from some LSU players just echoing that exactly. One of their D linemen, Jamari Butler, was talking about, quote, momentum is real. The crowd gets into it. I mean, it's just they boost teams. The difference in the SEC and the Big Ten teams, a lot of teams in the Big Ten are one dimensional. So you know what you're going to get. The SEC, you never know how they wake up feeling. You just got to be prepared in all aspects. He's
Yeah,
totally right. And that goes for really any game in the SEC up and down. But it does seem like a focus for them with the bye week was, get their running game back on track. So I think we definitely got to focus on that a bit. And then their O line too. They've had struggles a little bit on their O line. And then their vertical passing game. Their one of their wide receivers, Kyle Parker, was talking a lot about, their route trees and route discipline and being on the same page with the quarterback. That's gonna pay dividends for them, especially if Nussmeier is getting healthier.
Maybe the Nuss, you guys might be onto something with the Garrett Nussmeier injury and the torso here, right? Because you got me thinking. All right, so with basically about 25, a quarter of the percentage of snaps from last year, Nussmeier is averaging a full yard less per attempt. So, and I'm watching the LSU and Clemson game and watching LSU versus Ole Miss this year. they weren't really going deep a whole lot, right? It was very like short completions to the edges. Well, they really want to
Protecting
test
him,
out the
maybe.
edges,
Mhm.
throwing them really short. Yeah, you're right, Mike. That maybe
Yeah.
they're protecting him there. So if it's
Probably
a
why the O line in the rushing game was the focus because they
hey
got to
man,
keep him healthy.
Wow.
Our
listen,
guys are massive and getting 6 sacks a game. They get in there and they hit him a couple times. He's not going to be able to do what he need to do.
I would hate for our
Yeah.
show to manufacture news, but and to alter the betting stats. But if Vegas is out there listening, Nussmeyer is definitely hurt. He's got a shoulder injury, so let's get those spreads back down. I mean,
He's got a
there could
core
be some
tear.
truth to it there.
So look, before we start getting into our side of things, anything else we want to kind of hit on with LSU and what they're bringing, and then that side of the ball.
This is the
Uh,
start of a gauntlet, man, and this is the start of a
yeah.
gauntlet. This is the very first test. Let's see where we're at.
Yeah, I agree, Sam. Like the thing is, like we were saying, and yes, I did it for entertainment purposes about bringing out October. But the reality is, coming out of bye week gives you a chance to get healthy and kind of address some of the issues that you've had offensively, and maybe whatever else you've found wrong with your program over the last couple of weeks. This is the start to where you need to show everyone else. That would be the writers, the media, the nation,
And
the
Prime
SEC,
yourselves,
time.
whatever you want to say, yeah,
yourself.
and yourselves. Like starting out this gauntlet, and you're going to Death Valley. You have to show up and show out to say, hey, we are not done with our season. Our goals are still ahead of us. Yes,
Yep.
did we not have two good games against Missouri and Vanderbilt, and we're at two losses, et cetera, et cetera? Well, you know what? There are other teams. Penn State lost to UCLA this past
A
week
lot of
as
losses
a
last week.
24
Texas lost to
point
Florida.
favorite. Yeah, Texas lost to Florida. Like Florida State lost to Florida State lost to Virginia 2 weeks prior, but Florida State's on the slide because they lost to Miami as well. Like
Yeah,
there are
yeah.
things that
Miami's on the way
say
up.
with the way those things are shuffling, we still have a chance to make noise nationally. And it starts with game one of this gauntlet. You come out and you punch LSU in the mouth in Death Valley at the start of this gauntlet, then all of a
Sky's
sudden
the
that
limit.
Oklahoma Ole Miss and that Alabama game and that A&M game look not necessarily a lot easier, but look more beatable. And that's where I think we need to. That needs to be our mindset going into this weekend. Not necessarily thinking of the future games, but going like proving everybody that they were wrong about us if they're looking only at what we start out the season
All right, so that's enough of that Tiger talk. Let's shake
with.
that off. I want to get out of the Tiger cage or whatever the hell it is. I know we're going to Death Valley,
All right,
and
Tiger
let's
King.
get into what we want to do here. Those keys, baby, those keys.
We
Let's get
want
into
the
those
keys.
keys, and we need them this week more than ever, right? I mean, this is not one of those make or break have to have. It's not quite like the Kentucky game at all, but the world is our oyster, right? We've been alluding to it earlier in the episode. We talked about it when we did the first half of the schedule. We are in October. We are in spooky season. We got to scare some people. We have a gauntlet of games coming up, and it ain't gonna let up. And we got to be strong from the get. We're almost like we're like Hoover Dam here. We can't even have a crack because these floodgates are going to be coming. Everyone in the SEC is gonna smell blood, and they're going to come. And we got a little bit of a streak going. We won
Yeah,
one. We did not lose a game on our bye week,
yeah,
so that counts a little. And we had time to prepare for this. We had time to prepare, and we're shedding some potentially dead weight. Michael Smith does not want to be with the squad. He's unhappy. Please exit for now. Do your thing. We wish you the best. But we need people in this building that want to be here, that realize the challenges ahead of us, and that, like Buster said, that every goal is still achievable. I mean, we are not currently ranked, but we do things this weekend and over the next few weeks, and it is that would happen.
I mean,
So,
imagine like the idea of going strong through October with this gauntlet, and you do well enough against a bunch of ranked opponents, you will get ranked. Like that's the thing is, people complain about this. Like we're not ranked. All you gotta do
no,
is
could
beat a
care
couple of
less
these
about that right
teams.
now.
Yeah, it's like you beat a couple of these teams on the schedule for October. Oh, he'll be back in the rankings big time.
Yeah. So Sam, give me these keys. Give me the keys to the building. What do we got?
Key one, I mean, we talk about Cocktober, man. You guys were old enough to remember the Orange Crush. Key
Oof.
number one, that's going to be we got to disrupt LSU early and often.
Be
Garrett
the
Nussmeier
disruptor.
has looked, let's put it bluntly, inconsistent at best this year, especially against Ole Miss and, believe it or not, Louisiana Tech. That
Yep.
offensive line has given up 7 sacks this year. South Carolina has 14, including
Some
Dylan
good
Stewart, three and a
numbers.
half. Excuse me, Brian Thomas Jr. We just talked about has about what does he have? 3 or 4. JT's got 2. Yeah,
Yep.
Brian Thomas Jr. 3,
In a
Nick
fumble
Barrett
recovery
2.
And yeah,
touchdown.
fumble
And we
recovery.
and we
Yep.
just mentioned a second ago too how LSU likes to go outside on the edges this year versus going on that vertical
Yeah,
deep game.
yeah,
So it's okay to put Cizé and the corners out there by themselves. Like put them out there on islands.
yeah.
They've been very serviceable this year. I have complete faith in them. It's okay to give up pass interference. Let's get Garrett Nussmeier very uncomfortable. Use that defensive tempo. Good look at the varied looks right there. Look at a little, give a little blitz packages there, little defensive blitz packages, some
Exotic
defensive
blitz
exotic
packages.
blitz
Yeah.
packages. And also, let's take some tape from last year. Nussmeier did not have a terribly great game last year, and he got sacked quite a
Mhm.
few times. Dylan Stewart
Yeah,
was
there's a
on a
lot of tape
tear.
there. Yeah.
I was on a tear at the beginning of last year, and that was including the SEC games. So let's dominate the edges. Don't let them get outside very quickly because they got some speed receivers that like to catch the ball and go for some runs. What do you think about
Yeah.
that, Buster?
Dude, so quick little insight to what we do for our prep on this show. As you all know, I was in jury duty this week, so I didn't have a lot of chances to get in on this. Sam and Mike nailed these keys perfectly. This is exactly what I would have come up with as something that I would give to Coach Beamer as the keys to the victory. So shout out to Sam and Mike because key one is especially important because
Fire.
you look at it from like if I go for a 3 prong look. So the first prong is like you said, Garrett Nussmeier. Whether he's injured or not, or whatever the case may be, he has not looked like that preseason Heisman hype that everybody was talking about. So getting him uncomfortable in the pocket, and like you said, getting JT Gear, getting Brian Thomas Jr., getting Dylan Stewart involved, getting Gabriel Brown, Low Dindy on the pass rush involved,
Yeah.
to get him uncomfortable in the pocket means that we have a chance at success in this game. Two, their run game. They have struggled in the run game. 15th, like we said. Yes, they do get the running back from injury, but he's coming back from injury, which doesn't necessarily mean
Rusty.
he may be 100% healthy,
Sleepy.
but the running game may not be 100%. Attack that run game. Use the bye week to make sure your linebackers are getting the reps to understand gap protection, gap responsibility. Fred J.R. Johnson, J.O., Sean Murphy, they know to be in the right spots to attack that run game. And the third thing, and I'm glad you brought this up, Sam, this is a really good point. This is kind of like football knowledge. Like this is what you would know if you know football from a coach and a player standpoint. You said LSU wants to try to attack horizontally, and that makes sense. Like if you can't attack vertically, which we like to do with Lenoris,
Yeah,
attack vertically,
different
whether it's seam
quarterback.
routes, deep routes, heck, even Steven Garcia, former quarterback, has talked
Ooh,
about
deep
this
cut.
on his podcast that we need to attack more vertically. Well, LSU wants to attack horizontally, which means outs, screens, et cetera, et cetera. We have the linebacker speed to be able to fit that kind of profile. So I think if they want to attack horizontally, then we attack their horizontal attack.
Yeah.
And by doing those 3 things, we could disrupt their rhythm where they cannot get a sure enough drive going or a drive series going to where they can't just automatically say, hey, we do this, this, and this, we're going to score a touchdown, we're going to get ahead. You keep messing that up, they're going to have to rely on audible, so to speak, and then they're going to have to rely on their defense. And then what happens when their defense goes against our offense that wants to go for a vertical threat, they start getting tired. If we are able to hit that vertical threat and do things good on offense, then their defense is backpedaling, and all of a sudden we throw them off their entire
Yeah.
game plan.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And we
Sam,
take the crowd
he
out of
won.
it too. I'm in the back of my mind. Everything you guys are saying is correct,
Yeah,
but every time I'm thinking, what about? And then the crowd, LSU has to go more horizontal. Crowds don't get excited for that. They want
No,
the deep
no.
ball. They want big plays. If that's not happening and they're not driving and they're not consistent, I'm not getting excited for punts. You know what I
The
mean?
number one
And
thing that
and we're killing those drives. We're keeping them with short drives, and then they got a punt. Now we get a chance to run it back. You know what
the
I
number
mean?
one
And
thing
so
that takes your fans out of a game and makes them want to boo you is when you go horizontal and you throw that wide receiver screen and it goes for a 3 yard loss.
yeah.
They get so mad at that,
Or
and you
it's
take
more of
the
a
fans out of
lateral, and
that.
now there's a chance that the other
Yeah.
team's getting that ball. You know?
Third
So
and 7, and you're throwing a
I
one
I
yard
want to
out.
shout out Mike and Sam for coming. Like again, these keys were amazing, but key one I think is most important: disrupting an offense that's been struggling, that is trying to find its footing, and then you go in and disrupt that, and they can't find their footing. That's already the main ingredient to a victory in
Yeah.
Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
This offense
So
wants to be
shout out.
finesse. They want to be finesse. Let's oblige them with some
Yeah,
physicality.
I
Oh
love
yeah.
you guys with the quotes. And I'll just say I'm feeling the love this week. You know, it's obvious that Buster missed us in Arkansas and he's been lonely, sequestered in jury duty. And I'm glad we can hold it down. You know, I mean, I'll say this. I host the show. I have a lot of fun with this. I learn a lot from you guys. I'm obviously a big fan. Sam brings us a lot of details, a lot of great numbers. But Buster, you are a lot of times the lifeblood of this show. You are a
Appreciate that.
lifelong fan. You live, basically sleep in that stadium, and sometimes we miss you too. But knowing that we can hold it down and that you appreciate what we're doing, that makes it as much worth it, anyways. So,
What we do.
um,
What we
yeah.
do.
So moving right along. So
Team effort, boys.
Sam obviously hit that, disrupting LSU, making Garrett, making Nussmeier uncomfortable, huge. The horizontal thing, definitely something to look for. You know, I like to get horizontal too, so you know I'll look for that. What else? What do we got for number 2 here? What was our second of our 3 keys to victory here?
I'm just thinking that, I know this is probably something that you talk about a lot, Mike, and that is managing mistakes, and also I'm
Oh
going to add in
God,
there scoring
get out of your own
opportunities.
way.
Yeah, man, like the third and 33s have to stop, right?
Whoa.
Like the score opportunistically. Right now, if you think about it, like this is a game that could, if you keep it close and you limit the mistakes, you could win this game easily. I mean, obviously you say this a lot about football, but real quick, Gamecocks are third nationally in defensive touchdowns, right? First in non-offensive touchdowns. So that includes defense and special teams. This is Beamer ball to the core. And I saw a stat the other day
Being number
whenever
one
on
in anything is
SEC
great.
that a Beamer-led team since like 1990 has like 3 times the amount of non-offensive touchdowns versus the rest of like the college combined or something like that. It's some
Yeah.
ridiculous stat that ESPN graphics showed. So just keep it close. Take your opportunities. We saw a couple scores against Kentucky with the comebacks. We've seen Bakari Swain when he's on. He is really
Oh,
on.
love the Swainster.
It's because the Gamecocks are only ranked 14th in scoring and 16th in rushing in the SEC. Not great. Not great.
No,
So,
No.
there's going to have to be a
Terrible.
Beamer ball game. Beamer ball game there,
We
boys.
do like the running game a little bit better. We got this other running back Fuller in the mix now, and we'll see how those touches are distributed. Lenoris with some design runs now and like Buster called, getting us up over 100 on the last one. I mean, we should be able to do that again. Hopefully, we can do better. Hopefully, we can do it in the red zone and sustain drives that way. Get first downs off running plays when we're supposed to run the ball, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, to be able to get that and move those chains without having to go vertical every single play. Granted, we want the ball in Lenoris's hands, but I think I want to see running backs getting it done when they're supposed to, when you're supposed to be running the ball and the team knows you're running the ball. But yes, I would 100% agree. Win the turnover battle. Coach always wants to do that. Win the fourth quarter. He always wants to do that. Red zone is another one that's nice. But the penalties, just don't get emotional. You're in Death Valley. People are going to say a lot. People are going to be very loud. People might even spit in your face. I don't care. Don't react. Don't do anything. Don't do anything stupid.
Especially when the LSU fans give out that famous chant. You guys know what it is? Oh, suck that tiger dick.
Just tune it out. You know what I
Tune it
mean?
out.
Go to coach. You don't know what to
Yeah.
do? Look at coach or look at Lenore's. Look at a leader on this team and make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and not letting the emotion of the game, take you over. I mean, play with
Yeah,
emotion for sure.
The only stadium
But
that has 85-year-old
Why would-
grandmothers saying "suck that tiger dick."
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. That the funny thing is, and again, this goes back, like I said, like you guys nail these keys. Like when we say score opportunistically and manage mistakes, I when I looked at that, I saw the idea that if we do what we're supposed to do about disrupting LSU's offensive rhythm on defense, and then doing what we have to do on offense, and to me that means when we come out of the bye week, would I like in a perfect world in utopia that we come out and we completely fix our offense and we are 400 yards a game, 30 points a game type of offense? Those things would be lovely. I'm not asking for that. With the managed mistakes score opportunistically, that means what we did in this bye week was we were able to find the things that work on offense. You find and like kind of what we were saying with the idea that we can be a vertical threat team with Vandrevius Jacobs, who's averaged over 100 yards receiving last
Yeah, I
couple of
mean, but we
games.
need more
Lamar is
than
playing
just
well.
him. He's the
Well,
only one, you know.
to me, it's like I'm not asking the offense to be perfect this week. I would love for that to happen. Hypothetically, that would be the greatest thing to ever happen. But to me, it is, can you do the things that you've done well the last couple of weeks with a little bit more of a clip? And then the things that you haven't done well, do a little less of a clip. As in, we noticed with Kentucky, I think we went down to 5 penalties in that game
Yeah.
against Kentucky. So to me, a great thing is if we can get them to make mistakes on offense, and then for our offense to minimize the mistakes that have happened, which is fewer false starts, fewer holdings, fewer shoot yourself in the foot mistakes. Continue with the chunk plays, the vertical downfield threats, and things like that. And then with the running game, I would love for us to like all of a sudden fix this rushing attack that we have, and then Matthew Fuller comes out and runs for a buck 50 or something like
Keep
that.
calm and phase on.
That's may not. That's most likely not going to happen. But what I'd like to see is a level of consistency in the run game, or the idea that you figure out a identity that allows the run game to set up the passing game, or the passing game to set up the run game, so where you're just minimizing and managing the mistakes, and you become a little bit more efficient on offense in such a way that allows the defense to prey upon their problems on offense. That is, to me, we do a little bit better on offense and force them to do a little bit worse on offense. That is a key for a victory right there. So, yeah, key 2, keep the mistakes to a minimum, less penalties, a little bit more in the run game, maybe a little bit more vertical threats, maybe a little bit more chunk plays, maybe a little bit more from letting Lenore's get outside the pocket and make magic happen. And that, to me, says, hey, we got a chance to win this game.
And I mean, a little counter to our last key here, but I think once you've been doing those things through the bye week, and that's been the message. I think in game, and you know, we talked about this pregame. Just playing a little more free, playing a little more open, going a little commando. You don't necessarily got to wear any underwear today. You know what I mean? Like, let's keep it loose. Let's do what we do. Let's try to improve where we haven't done well. A little more efficiency is good. And don't worry about what's happened up until this point, you know. And if anything, and if you need more motivation, think about last year. A lot of these players were on this team last year.
Yeah.
They played LSU very, very well, like you said early in this game. I mean, basically a win comes down to a kick, you know. And even with everything against us, and plan for that. Again, this is not necessarily one of our keys, but I'm just going to say it. Just assume that the refs are not on your side. Right? Like last year. Just assume that going into it so it doesn't frustrate you. It is what it is. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. I literally don't care. And if it does change things, you got to achieve anyway, so do it anyway. You know? I mean, you got to move out of a house. That sucks. You got to move in a new house. It's pouring down rain when you go to move. That sucks even worse, but you still got to move. So you still got to do it. And now you got to wrap everything up so you don't because you're not going to move in a new house with everything, you know, that you got to throw away. That's a weird analogy, but the idea being that, like, assume that everything is going to come at you, that the refs are not on your side, that the building is not on your side, that core things that are supposed to be even are not, and you'll be better in that way. You got to play with a chip on your shoulder in this game. You got to use last year. You got to use the bye week. You got to use the momentum that you have, you know?
Yeah. Dude, said it.
I would say
that's perfect. I like that.
Coach is got to bring me in, right? I should just say that.
Man,
like,
just don't
play
even
for this, coach. You know,
don't like. just have fun, man. This is
Yeah,
literally
enjoy
it.
it. This is a
Like, don't
big
even
game in
worry
prime
about
time.
it. Let Brian Kelly make all the mistakes. Hey, by the way, Buster, it sends over some fun stuff on James Franklin to us via text. So I'm gonna tell you guys that the UCLA interim coach, what's his name? Tom Kipper,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tim Kipper. He has as many wins against a top 10 team as James Franklin does over the last 5 years
You guys
in
love
one
that.
game.
You love to
So
troll
some
him.
more love there. Let's just troll him like Brian Kelly too. Brian Kelly, make those mistakes. Let him be emotional. Let them all be
yeah,
emotional.
Yeah, I
Put the
love
onus
seeing
on
his
them.
post
They
games where
have
he just
so much more
shreds
to
those
lose.
reporters sometimes.
This team,
yeah.
this LSU team has so much more to lose. Just play free, have fun. Remember why you got into football. Lenore Sellers, play breaks down. Just run for it, baby. Who cares?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah, no, I like that. They do have a lot more to lose than we do.
they're ranked. We're not. They have more of a national presence with Brian Kelly than we do with Shane Beamer. Let him make. People have been making fun of him since his opening little press
Yeah.
conference statement thing at the basketball game where he tried to put on a Southern accent, which he will never be able to do. You can't imitate this beautiful thing that you got in my mouth. I will say this: with that play free, forget everything that happened last year on defense. Let the defense do exactly what they want to do. Hit them hard, hit them often.
And I
Don't
think they
worry about
will.
this whole thing about, oh my gosh, that is a unsportsmanlike conduct on the quarterback. Who gives a crap what happened last year? Go out, punch them in the mouth on defense. On offense, the play free identity on offense is this. I know Mike Shula wants to build an identity based on this pro style shell or something like that, but let Lenoris be Lenoris. We've seen what he's able to do when you roll him out of the pocket. You've seen what Vandrevius has been able to do from the downfield. Now let's see what Mo Brown can do at tight end. Let's see if we can get the other receivers involved. Let's see if we can get in such a way that Nick Harbor has a one-on-one on a deep post where his blazing speed destroys LSU's defense. Just go out there and play to the identity of the offense, which to me is not necessarily backyard football, but let Lenoris be Lenoris.
Yeah.
Do not
Yeah, it's much
hold
more
him
vertical.
in
Yeah.
restriction to this pro style thing that you have planned, Mike Shula. Call the play that lets Lenoris be Lenoris. If you do that, then the offense is going to succeed. The defense does what they do best, which is hit them hard, hit them often, and hit them like a pile of freaking rocks and spot the damn ball.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Here.
So look, so I mean, we've pretty much laid out, the keys and what this team's got to do and what LSU's bringing. We're gonna jump right into our predictions and what we think's happening here. Obviously, given LSU's rank and they're at home and everything they've done and where they're at in the SEC and in the nation, they are favored here. We're thinking with these keys, take these keys and shove it, right? Like they should be able to at least get in there and be very competitive in this game. And hopefully we're getting some cut-ins. ESPN cutting in other things, saying upset alert here for South Carolina. But let's get to these predictions. Sam, I'll let you start. We know the over-under around 45. We know LSU's favored by about 9. What are you thinking for a final?
Yeah, that over under is at what, 44 and a half? It goes 8.5, 9.5. Listen, man, redemption's gonna be sweet. I'm calling it right now. Upset of the week. LSU loses. Remember the score last year, guys? What was it? What
Yep.
was it?
It was
Was it 36 to
33
Yeah.
33?
29,
Yeah.
36
36,
33.
36, 33?
Yeah.
How about this one? Gamecocks win 36-33, and
Woohoo!
we
Flip it
get a
right
couple
around,
calls
baby.
going our way, and Brian Kelly's the one that's crying after the game.
Sam,
Oh,
what's your bold prediction, real quick?
Bold prediction is that Lenora Sellers breaks out and goes for a 250-100 game.
Dang.
that's pretty
Okay,
good.
okay,
That's pretty
okay.
good.
All right. Do
I'm
you want
gonna
me to go next, Mike, or
No,
you
because
want to go?
I'm actually gonna go the other way. Look,
No.
I think we've made strides. The Kentucky win was big. I know coach has coached this team up. I think they're gonna be very competitive, but I think to basically beat a top 10 team right now is a little bit unrealistic. I do think we make some mistakes. I think we have to take some risks to win this game. I think we could go deep once or twice, and that might bang us. And I just don't know that we have it. I think LSU have. I think if LSU did not have a bye week and we did, then I would feel better about it, especially if they were coming off a win. But I have it. I have it basically within the lines here. I have 31-21 LSU. Now, I hope
You,
I'm wrong, guys. I really do. I just think it's more about taking steps at this point rather than
Mike,
splashes, you
the
know?
You're objective
Mike,
and
the
reasonable.
contrarian, the charlatan, you churlish.
And I
No,
also don't want to jinx it because lately I'm picking them and
that's
it's like
true. That's
exactly
true.
wrong the
Okay,
other way. So like I gotta take a shot next week. I will happily take a shot next week. You know,
fine,
I
fine.
would probably take two. But I would also say that the path is there for them to do this, but there's very little room for error. You know, I mean we would have to have close to almost no mistakes on offense. The defense has to play its absolute best, and then we need some kind of X factor. And I think that's where I go to a bold prediction. And I think I'm going to say I really liked what I saw in Fuller. I think we worked on that in the bye week. I'm going to say that Fuller breaks out in this game and for the Gamecocks to win. And I think Fuller could get to 100 yards on his own if we
Okay,
commit to him
wow.
in
Okay,
this game.
all
Yeah.
right. To counter your contrarian charlatan
Please do.
view, uh, I will say this: this is Cocktober. This is start of Cocktober. This is the chance for our path to
Gamecocks
the
everywhere
goals that
flying
we
everywhere.
have. Okay, so bold prediction wise, to be able to get that, I think if you're looking at the entirety of this game and this matchup, yes, do we want to play better on offense? Of course, and I think we can get that done. Do we need to make timely stops and have opportunistic things happen on defense? Yes. But I think what really turns the tide is one of those things that we saw that happened last year that got called back or didn't count for us. So my bold prediction is we're either going to have a defensive touchdown or a special teams touchdown. And because of that, my unbiased, reasonable, logical prediction is that we come out victorious 28-24. We will
Love
Oh
it.
take the
Lord.
over, but I do like the 28-24 just because I know the offenses are going to be kicking. So I don't think this is high scoring. But I think of that 28-24, 7 of those points is going to come, or technically 6, but one of those touchdowns is going to come from the defensive side or the special team side. So
Nice.
Love it.
28-24 Gamecocks,
Beamer ball
the
style.
special teams
Keep
or
us at
defensive
number one in that
side.
category.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there we go.
Right on.
Love it.
Well,
Love
well,
it.
there you have it, guys. I hate to be the contrarian, but there's always one in a bunch. Let us know what you think. Please comment, like, subscribe if you like what we're doing. Let us know what you think a score will be. Let us know anything we missed here, whether it be about Michael Smith and his exit from the program and what coach is doing there, what LSU is doing, or what our key, do we have these keys right or do we need a locksmith, and please let us know. We really enjoy when you guys chime in here because we are not all knowing, nor are we all powerful. We hope that coach is watching, but let's be honest, he's got bigger fish to fry. He's got some tigers to kill this weekend. And if there's anything else I missed, guys, I think it's almost time to say another great episode of Alumni.
Go!
Cox.
Go!
Cox.
Get those tigers.
Game!